Hey everyone, thank you so much for being here with us. This is the story of our dad, Jeff. For those of you who don't know us, I'm Zachary.
I'm Brooklyn.
And I'm Sydney.
Dad was born in Picture Butte on August 22nd, 1965, to his mom and dad, Alice and Wayne.
He had 5 older brothers: Rod, Mike, Dennis, Tim, and Kevin. Dad would often reminisce about the trouble he would get into with his brothers. He was quite a bit younger than them, but that did not stop him from joining them. It was such a joy to see him light up when one of them came to visit. It was as if they were back in their old ways again, causing mischief and making everyone around them laugh. Dad had a laugh that was so catchy that even if you didn't think what he said was funny, him laughing at his own joke would make you giggle. Dad and Grandma were very well known in town for their spectacular award-winning parade costumes, some of which we still have. Grandma and Dad always had a special bond throughout their entire lives. Our family would take numerous trips out to McGrath to visit both sets of grandparents often. In about 2005, he helped Grandma Alice and Grandpa Wayne move into Lethbridge, only a short 2-minute walk from his own house, so he was able to be close to help them. When the time came, Dad moved Grandma to Diamond Willow in McGrath. This did not stop him from visiting at least once a week. Dad would always bring flowers and a goodie bag of sweets and her favorite drinks. He would often joke to her that he had to smuggle them in just for her. She would gasp and whisper, "Chaff," as she playfully swatted at him. A visit would never be complete without Dad ending up sitting right on her lap. It was her fave. And if you don't believe us, here's the proof. Whether we brought Grandma into town for a visit or it was a trip out to her, Dad would always play the piano for her, and for all the others his beautiful music would attract. It was her absolute favorite thing. Grandma would get up and gently stroll around, tapping her toes and humming along. She had a walker, but that did not stop her from dancing to her baby playing piano for her. We like to think that Dad is playing the piano now for her, free of the arthritis so he doesn't have to take breaks to rub his hands, and Grandma's dancing away with no walker to help her. Then, of course, they will have a slice of chocolate cake or pie, or both, and visit together, both being able to hear clearly and speak with ease. In 1985, Dad went on a mission to Baton Rouge, Louisiana, unfortunately having to return early due to illness. However, still having a great time. Upon returning home, Grandma and Grandpa informed him that they bought some land in McGrath, and he was not happy about having to move. He eventually warmed up to this idea because his parents allowed him to help design and build their home.
which, unsurprisingly, is still standing to this day in McGrath. And little did he know he was moving in 2 doors down from his future wife. Mom spotted Dad through the kitchen window a couple days after they moved in, and it was love at first sight, quite literally. She gushed to Grandma Irene about this boy. They were in the garden a few days later, and true to his ways, Dad came zipping around the corner in his blue Subaru, nearly hitting the ditch. Mom excitedly exclaimed, Mom, there he is, that's the guy." Grandma said she was so excited she nearly peed her pants and just wasn't the same the rest of the day. Grandma said she can't remember if Mom even waved. She is sure she just stared, love-struck. She then proclaimed, "I'm going to marry that boy one day." And so she did, but not without a little effort to catch his attention. One of her tactics was to get out there in her bikini and wash her car on the driveway when she knew he would be driving by.
Mom and Dad officially met on Mother's Day of 1987 and soon fell deeply in love, getting married on September 10th, 1988. Dad actually proposed to Mom over the phone because he bought their first home in Lethbridge and said, "We got the house, we need to get married." After getting married, Mom and Dad went on a couple honeymoon trips to Mexico and Disney World, both of which were won from being top sales at Radio Shack. These trips would be the first of many won through being a top salesman throughout his career with Radio Shack and London Drugs. Since then, they've had so many fun adventures together.
Okay, we're going to continue the tour. This is the hallway. Ooh, 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 ooh. This is our living room. Other furniture. This is more modern. Radiator. Little kitchen. Dad was ironing his own shirts because I'm on holidays. And there's our front door. This is our closet. Look at this furniture. Like, look. Oh, he's in the closet.
October 2nd, 1990 rolled around and enter Zachary, thus beginning their family and parenting journey together. Soon enough, June 13th, 1993 came, and here is B. Then, as if that wasn't enough, Sid joined us on January 20th, 1997, completing our family. We are not sure when or why Dad started this wrapping tradition, but we found this photo from 1988 and can assume it has been a signature of his for a while. Although we don't have many pictures of presents wrapped this way, we had a gift from Calby Cat every year. It is extremely difficult to explain who or even what Calby Cat is, but it was sort of a character Dad put on to be goofy and was often blamed for any goings-on around the house Dad didn't want to admit to. Between the many magical Christmases, the hundreds of trips exploring the mountains, the many international travels and adventures, along with many household renovations, not to mention the extraordinary summers in the pool that Dad maintained so well for us, it would be an understatement to say we had an awesome childhood.
I know that we will all cherish
Yeah, okay.
Dad's crazy driving, especially over Logan Pass. Mom would be sitting passenger seat white knuckling, and us kids would just be having the time of our lives in the back seat. I think that a good portion of the photos we have are of us in the mountains. This video is about Dad. However, he is not the only one that made our life special. None of it would have been possible without our mom by his side. So thank you, Mom. Thank you so much. So other than his world seemingly revolving around us, he also worked very hard at computer sales, starting at Radio Shack and eventually moving to London Drugs in approximately 1996, where he had a huge impact. When Dad passed away in May, one of his fellow coworkers and great friends, Chris Mabey, summarized so well Dad's likely career with London Drugs. Here it is.
It is with extreme sadness and a very heavy heart that I send this email letting you know that one of our longer serving members of our team and family here in Lethbridge passed away this morning, Jeff Gibb. Jeff started with our company as the computer manager approximately 25 years ago here in Lethbridge, where he built up the computer department to be one of the busiest in the chain. Jeff brought our computer department to be one of the top performing departments in the company by bringing corporate business to retail to purchase their electronic and computer needs. Jeff really helped pave the way for our store and company to think differently about supporting the corporate business in a retail setting, and did it better than anyone I ever met. Jeff built up our computer department to the point where it could no longer properly sustain the business, and did what Jeff always did, and thought outside the box and pushed to open up a TLD inside our store, which is a corporate sales division department of London Drugs. Like the computer department at Store 38, Jeff with his team quickly built up the TLD department to be one of the top performing TLDs in the company as well, starting in a tiny office at the back of our old store to where it is now. Jeff was one of the most successful salespeople you would ever have the pleasure of meeting, and he did it by making personal connections with every customer he worked with. Jeff cared more about the person making the purchase than the sale, which made him arguably the top salesperson in our company to this day. If you ever saw Jeff upset, it was because he was making sure a customer was being taken care of and would not let anything stand in his way to make this happen. Jeff truly embodied making the customer's life less complicated. Jeff was a passionate people person who not only loved to make personal connections with his customers, but also brought this same flair of passion into his personal relationships and would do anything for anyone. Jeff's heart was made of kindness, and he truly cared about those around him. He always had a story to tell you and something funny to make you laugh anytime you talked to him. On a more personal note, Jeff was one of the first people that came and introduced himself to me when I moved to Lethbridge, and immediately let me know if there was anything I needed to let him know, which I knew he sincerely meant. Anyone who knew Jeff would feel as though they knew his family, as he talked about them often. Of his 3 children, 2 of them worked for us over the years, Brooklyn and Sydney, and his wife Karen and son Zachary were close to many of us. I feel so fortunate to have grown to know his entire family and quickly came to realize the entire Gibb family was as kind and caring as him. I will end this by saying Jeff will be sorely missed by his friends, family, loved ones, including his family at TLD and London Drugs, but his reputation will live on as a legend in our store and company.
Over the course of his career, he worked closely with many people at London Drugs, TLD, Lethbridge School District No. 51, and the Holy Spirit Catholic School Division. He made some great friends out of his coworkers. Some of which were even upgraded to being some of Dad's most treasured friends. One might even say a budding bromance. Yeah, we're looking at you, Johnny. It's so lovely seeing these pictures and the good times Dad had with his buddies over the last few years. Dad didn't really go out much, but when he did, he was the life of the party. After a couple drinks, the notorious grump he could be would disappear and Mr. Cocktail would surface, having the best carefree times. Dad was dubbed Mr. Cocktail at Charlie and I's wedding when he took over as bartender when the actual bartender stepped away for a couple minutes. He did indeed get in trouble for this stunt, but how else were we supposed to fill up a water gun with vodka?
Dad would always huff and puff when he had to go to an event, or if Mom had invited people over. His famous line of, "I don't want to be a prisoner in my own goddamn house," would come out, but just as quickly, he would be researching new dishes and cocktails to prepare. As soon as the guests arrived, he would be asking what drink he could make for them. With a snap of his fingers, he would have some delicious cocktail ready. He would often be the test subject to his own potent concoctions, and sometimes he would get a bit carried away and usually have to be carried away.
Christmas of 2016 will always be a special one where our family found out there was soon to be another addition to adore. Max was born the following August, and him and Dad were quick to be besties. They were inseparable. Even as a newborn, I would come over and he would take Max and run away somewhere to hang out. As Maxie got a little older, his absolute favorite thing in the whole world would be hanging out at Yaya and Pa's house, helping Pa with whatever project was on the go. The summer of 2020 will be one to never forget. Max and I got the special pleasure of spending every day at my parents' house swimming and just hanging out in the sun with Pa. Pa would often say that he keeps forgetting that Max is only 3 because he's so smart and so helpful. He once told Max to plug in the pressure washer into the extension cord outside, and Max was like, Pa, I'm not allowed to do that." Max misses his Pa dearly, but is always the first to comfort us in his own little ways when he sees us sad. Max's sweetest comfort is telling us that him and Uncle are building a huge net to scoop Pa out of heaven and bring him back to us. However, his most recent comfort phrase is, "Don't worry, Pa is in Yaya's room in his box." I mean, the kid ain't wrong, I suppose. Then, in the crazy year that was 2020, along came Harrison, Pa's second little bestie.
And not but 3 months later, Jack joined our family as Pa's third little bestie. Through an abundance of caution for the new babies and Pa, we had to keep a distance when it started to get cold. After our families did a 2-week quarantine, all but Zach, who had to keep his store, the Wholesale Club, running for the holidays, we were able to have Christmas together. We had Zach propped up on FaceTime, and Pa was in his glory with his 3 little besties. Although the 2 babes never got the honor of really knowing their Pa, which will forever break our hearts, we can only be thankful that Pa got to meet them. One thing is for certain, Pa loved them deeply. He couldn't wait to have his little boy gang following him around, helping with everything and anything. These boys will all grow up with their Pa as their guardian angel, protecting them from all the stupid stuff they will inevitably get up to, being a descendant of Dad and all. And they will always know Pa's love because it lives so strongly in all of us.
Dad had a major travel bug. He took us on countless trips over Logan Pass in Montana, sometimes just a day trip to Columbia Falls for his favorite fried chicken. A cross-USA trip twice, driving to Disneyland, which resulted in some pretty crazy stories and memories to last. A couple plane rides to Disneyland as well. He also had 2 trips to New York, 2 trips to Turkey, a few trips to Mexico, handfuls of trips to Sonora, another cross-USA trip with Mom, and many other spur-of-the-moment trips. Dad also did plenty of traveling with his brothers, whether it be wild road trips to Honduras or rickety train rides in Alaska, and many, many more, as well as owning property with a couple bros in Arizona. Dad and Uncle Dennis, aka UD, were the best travel buddies. They sure had some wild times together on the road. We love hearing stories about it.
On one of his trips to Turkey, Mom and Dad were lounging on the beach and he was complaining his lips were dry and he needed some chapstick. They found the closest shop, and with everything being in Turkish and Dad's vacation brain, he grabbed the first one he could find. They resumed their sun tanning, and Dad carelessly slathered his new chapstick all over his face, not aware it was indeed colored. Mom turned around laughing and snapped this picture before explaining his unfortunate situation. We could go on and on with all the stories we have with Dad and our travels. We were so lucky to have gotten the chance to explore parts of the world with him and have him teach us all the knowledge he had of the places we visited. That being said, a lot of his knowledge was made up on the spot, but it sounded good. Dad had a few dogs throughout his life, each holding a special place in his heart. When we got Maybe, we had to beg him to agree to adopt her, but when she was home with us, it was clear she was meant to be his dog. He took her across the street to the park every day, rain or shine, to throw the ball for her. His bench now permanently stands in his place at the park.
Dad was set to semi-retire come June 2021 and wanted to be fully retired by his birthday in August 2021. It kills us to know how hard he worked, and he didn't even get to enjoy a taste of his retirement. It was a cruel twist of events that we really will never get to make right for him, but one thing is for certain, we will be living our lives to the fullest in his honor. We will take those trips he and Mom were planning to take. We will enjoy the drinks, the food, the smells, the sunshine, and the love for each other. Dad, you will be forever missed by so many.